Okay, moving forward. We are still on page 201, but we're going to try another one. So you can see the second example says, in some areas, the tax rate is levied as the number of dollars per $1,000. So that's what's changed here. So it says the tax rate is $3.80 per $1,000. Determine the amount of annual tax for a property having an assessed value of $149,000. So the first thing that I notice is they're actually giving us the assessed value this time. So we don't have to calculate that. Sometimes they give us the market value, sometimes they give us the assessed value. We want the assessed. So in this case, we're going to work with the value they give us, $149,000. So we've already basically done step one. We can skip that one from our last example, but let's move on. And what we need to do this time it's working in increments of 1,000. So we need to figure out how many groups of 1,000 are in 149,000. So to do that, we divide it by 1,000. And when we do that, essentially our decimal moves to the left 3 times. 1, 2, 3. So therefore, it's 149. So there's 149 increments of 1,000 in that assessed value. Once you have how many $1,000 units there are, you're going to multiply it by the rate. So it's $3.80 for every 1,000. So since we have 149 of them, we're going to multiply that by the values. So they tell us $3.80 for every one equals, do the math, that is 566 and 20 cents is owed in property tax. So it's very similar to our first example. We'll go ahead and tackle mills in this video as well. So you can see that right below that example on page 201 is another example. So now they're talking about expressing the tax in mills. So essentially what a mill is it's 1/1000th of a dollar. So if you're given something in mills, the first step that you basically do is you want to change the mills into dollars. All you do is take the value they give you in mills and divide it by 1,000. So if we read the example on page 201, it says tax rate is levied in mills. A mill is 1/1000th of a dollar, hence why you divide by 1,000. If the tax rate is 22 mills, divide 22 by 1,000, then multiply that answer by the assessed value. Determine the amount of annual tax for a property having the assessed value of $118,000. So the first information they give us, already know how much the property is assessed at. It's assessed at $118,000, so that's the value we want to work with. But we need to figure out our mills. So they tell us 22 mills. So what you do to find out the dollar value is you divide that by 1,000. So 22 divided by 1,000 is 0.022. So that's the value we're going to do. Once we get to this step, all we need to do is multiply our assessed value by our mill dollar rate. So I have 118,000 times 0.022, which was my mill dollar value. Now I can calculate that the property tax due is $2,596. Yeah. So that covers page 201 for chapter 6.1 property tax.